Hi everyone, very good evening. My name is Bony. I work for Schwarzkopf and I've been hairdressing for the last 15 years. So today I'll be taking you through a hair care routine that you can actually do it at home during this quarantine time. Now, not just at the quarantine time, you can actually follow the similar measure even when you are at home post the quarantine and post the lockdown service. So before we deep dive into a hair care routine, it's very important that we understand what is hair and what is scalp. Because once you have an in depth knowledge about a hair and a scalp, it'll be much easier for you to pick a product or choose a product which is according to your hair and scalp. Yes, it's always given that if you meet an expert or a hairstylist who can actually check and analyze your hair and scalp and suggest you the best possible product, but sometimes what happens, it is not that easy as it sounds. Sometimes we may want to pick up the product, or sometimes we may want to understand the product that we use. Is it good for us or not? So let me start with telling you about a story. Yeah, interested? So the story is all about hair. So your hair strands that is a part of our personality and it's a part of our lifestyle. It is made of a protein called keratin. Now, keratin is made of amino acids. As you all know, our whole body is made of amino acids. So, if we talk about hair, so hair is made of 19 amino acids. So, that 19 amino acids makes a keratin fiber, and that fiber makes the hair. So, what you see outside the scalp is basically known as a hair shaft. Now, your hair shaft is actually divided into three different layers. The outermost layer, which is a translucent layer, we call it as a cuticle, which acts like a protection, which acts like a barrier against the external effects. Then you have cortex and the innermost layer, which is called medulla. Now, for your knowledge, it's important that you should know that you keep your hair shaft clean, and which means we are talking about the cuticle. So most of the hair care products, which is your shampoo and your conditioner, works on the outermost layer, which is called cuticle. The key here is to make sure that the hair shaft is clean every time we wash, and we close it or we seal it with the help of a conditioner. So shampoo does the cleaning part, and your conditioner does the sealing part. Now we also understand there are products which are known as mask or treatments. They work on the second layer of the hair. So when you say the second layer of the hair, which means I'm talking about a cortex layer. Now what does it do in your cortex layer is it penetrates inside and strengthens your hair from inside. So it's not necessary that every time the hair gets stressed from outside. Sometimes the hair gets stressed from inside. So when you say internal stress is something where we lack elasticity in the hair, or when you check the hair strand, it breaks easily, which means the hair strand is weaker from inside. So in that case, you need something which is a little more intense compared to a conditioner. That's where we start recommending a mask or a treatment for it. Yeah. So going forward, to understand what the hair is all about. Now, our hair strand actually goes through a life cycle. Like similar to us, our hair, each and every hair strand on our scalp goes through a life cycle, which is called anagen, catagen, telogen, and reanagen. Yeah, so it's anagen, catagen, telogen, and reanagen. So your anagen phase is where your hair actually takes birth and grows to its fullest length. So this anagen phase continues for about 3 to 6 years. It varies from clients to client. It varies from people to people. It all depends on our diet. It all depends on our lifestyle. It all depends how we take care of us. Yeah. So anagen phase is where your hair growth phase, we call it as. So that's where your hair, if I have to say that, this is your root bulb and this is where your hair. So this is the growth phase. It is still attached to the root bulb, where all the nutrients and minerals that we provide to our body get supplied to the hair shaft. So it's a fact when somebody says what we eat reflects on our skin as well as on the hair. So the key here is to ensure that your diet is in place. The key here is to ensure that your body is hydrated. The key here is to ensure that your body is fit. You don't have any other challenges. So all that leads to a healthy hair, in short, if I have to talk about. So this anagen phase lasts for about 3 to 6 years, and every month your hair grows for about half an inch. Now, which means in a year, you approximately reach a length of 10 to 12 inches, which means one strand of your hair grows for about 8 to 10 or probably a 12 inches length. So this phase goes on for about 3 to 6 years. Then the strand moves to a catagen phase. So that's the space where your hair gets completely detached from the root, which means it's not growing further. So this is a phase which continues for about 3 to 4 weeks. After that, your hair is ready to fall, which means the hair strand which is grown to its fullest length is detached from the root. Now it's ready to fall. And we say 100 hair falling in a day, it's perfectly all right. Yeah, it's perfectly all right because every follicle or every hair strand has a different growth cycle. That means you don't go bald all of a sudden and your hair starts growing all of a sudden. That's the reason why you have few hair shedding. And when the hair drops, that phase is called your telogen phase. When it's grown to its fullest strength, the catagen phase, which is about 3 to 4 weeks, it's over. And then you move to a telogen phase, which lasts for about good 3 to 4 months. That's where your hair drops and the hair comes back to a re-anagen phase, which means the hair comes back to a new growth phase. Now, this process continues throughout our life. Now, there are certain challenges that happens in between is where you start losing the hair vitality, the growth becomes a bit slow. All that challenges happens over a period of time. Products has a limitation. It works to an extent, but we also always recommend our clients to ensure that they have a very healthy and a balanced diet. So that's pretty much something when we talk about a hair. So I've made all the notes of it. So yeah. So once we understand this hair growth cycle, so as we grow mature, there are two important things that happens in a hair. Once we cross the age of 30, the hair starts losing its vitality, which means the certain keratin production slows down. And that's when we generally recommend your hair requires extra support. Yeah, there are people who generally take a biotin supplement. There are people who become extremely conscious about their diet. They add a lot of proteins, vitamins into their diet, omega 3 into their diet to ensure that the hair gets its vitality back. Now, remember, this didn't happen overnight. This happened over a period of time, which means you need to give that sizable amount of time to ensure that the hair comes back to its normal state. Yeah. So it doesn't mean that I change my diet and from tomorrow onwards I should have a beautiful looking hair. So you need to wait and let the product work, which works externally, and you manage your diet, which works from internally. So both put together, you will be able to get your hair back to its normal vitality. Those are something that we call it as a signs of aging. So your hair goes into a signs of, or it goes into aging phase where we fight against that and bring the hair back to its normal state. Now, moving into a growth cycle, once you cross the age of 40, the growth cycle slows down. Like for an example, if the hair grows for about an inch, I'm saying an example for an example. Once you cross 40, it slows down, probably lesser than that. For somebody who had say 12 inches of growth in a year, it might come back to 8 or 10. That can happen. So that's something which is all about the hair. Now, there is one element, like one part of a body, which we don't really look into it, and we've always seen that there's something that we see, something that we can feel it. We always take care of it. So when it comes to your hair, you can see your hair, you can actually feel your hair. So which means when you see your hair is looking a bit dull, you know that you need to use another product. Or when you see your hair is looking a bit weaker, or feel where your hair is looking a bit weaker, you know you need an expert product. But what happens to the extension of your skin, which is your scalp? Generally, we don't get to see that. And mostly, scalp remains neglected. Yeah. So, for us as a stylist, I always recommend all my clients to ensure that not just taking care of a hair is important, they also need to ensure that the scalp is being taken care equally. Now, when you say scalp is being taken care, we start worrying about a scalp when we see either a hair loss, when we see a dandruff shedding on our shoulder, when we see the scalp is a bit itchy, or when we see there is a sort of a discomfort on the scalp. That's when we actually start worrying about it uh, and start taking care of it. So my question to you here is, why to worry about it when we know what exactly the challenge that can happen to the hair or as well as to your scalp? So maybe we start taking care of it well in advance rather than waiting for the actual challenge to happen and then start taking care of it after that. So for me, a precaution is always better than a cure. So let me ask you a question. On an average, we generally wash a face almost twice a day. How often do you cleanse your scalp? We wash our hair and a scalp probably twice or thrice a week, which means the amount of care or the amount of cleansingness which is required to your scalp, sometimes it may not be sufficient. Imagine my client has a lifestyle which requires hitting a gym every evening. When you're working out, you're sweating, your scalp is getting a bit dirty, which means when I come back, I need to make sure that I keep my scalp clean before I go to bed. Now, those are the few elements which are part of my lifestyle or part of your lifestyle. So those are the changes that you may have to take it, you may have to adapt as you shift your lifestyle. Now, probably I was using a moisturizing shampoo before, just giving an example, a moisturizing shampoo before, which was good enough for me. It keeps my hair and scalp hydrated. You also use a conditioner and it's perfectly all right. But then there is a change that happens. Now that moisturizing shampoo may not be enough to remove the amount of grease that is getting accumulated on my scalp. So what do I need to do? I probably have to add a clarifying shampoo into my routine. May not have to use a clarifying shampoo on a regular basis, but I may have to use a clarifying shampoo probably once in 10 days or once in 15 days to ensure that my scalp is absolutely spick and span. And then I condition it along with that. So that's something which actually we all need to know about it. So just taking care of hair is not enough. You also need to ensure that you equally take care of your scalp. Now, when we talk about scalp, I'm just checking your questions. I'm sorry if there are any questions that popped up here. Give me a moment. Okay, so there is a question. I've recently moved to UK and my hair has chemically treated and got rebonded and color. So there's a lot of hair loss and kindly suggest a tip also to suggest a shampoo and conditioner. Thanks in advance. Uh, Yes, there is a climatical change, and you also mentioned that your hair is being smoothened, your hair is being colored, which means for me as a stylist, I would recommend you to use a shampoo which is designed to take care of smoothened hair. Because when I have to weigh down the chemical services that are done in your hair, I would give more preference to a rebonding because that's a little more delicate, a little more intense compared to a hair coloring service. So I would ensure that you use a repair rescue shampoo which ensures that the right amount of moisture has been infused into your hair. So you use a repair rescue shampoo and you use a color freeze conditioner. Yeah. So that's how you can actually balance. You can mix and match the product. So sometimes you have a different challenge with your hair and the scalp has a different requirement. So you can actually pick a product for your scalp and pick another product for your hair. So you can actually mix and match. So when you go to a store, don't look for one shampoo that actually suffices all the 10 requirements of yours. Pick products and use it smartly. You can actually alternate your shampoo. Probably once you use a color shampoo, second time you use a repair rescue shampoo. But you can continue using a color conditioner. So that what happens is your moisture content is maintained, plus the color is being maintained as it is in your hair. Yeah. So that's pretty much what we have when it comes to hair and scalp. Now, if we go a little more in detail to understand the scalp related issues. See, if the scalp is not being taken care, the most common issue that you see is a dandruff. The second is excessive grease. Third is a bit of sensitivity. You see a burning sensation, an itching sensation on your scalp, or when you comb it hurts. And fourth, which is your natural hair loss. So there are four major challenges that you generally see on a scalp. In all these four cases, whether you have excessive oil, whether you have dandruff, whether you have sensitivity, or you have weak roots, in all the four cases, your hair tends to fall. So when you see a hair falling, when you see a hair dropping, do not panic all of a sudden saying that, oh, I need to start using a hair growth or I need to start using a product which is going to help me to reduce my hair fall. So you need to actually try and find out what is the actual cause. Because if you have excessive grease, if the scalp is very oily, your hair tends to drop. You got fungal infection, which is a dandruff issue, commonly found. Your hair will drop. If the scalp is very sensitive, your hair will drop. If your roots are weaker, a hair will drop. Believe me, in my personal experience, if I have attended 10 clients, 10 clients have approached me with a hair loss issue. Six out of that 10 has a dandruff issue or a sensitive scalp issue or an oily scalp. Four actually have a weak root issue or the follicles are not holding the root strand, I mean, the hair strand strongly. So you need to use a different product altogether. So imagine if I'm continuing to use a product which helps in a hair growth and I'm not addressing the other three major concerns, I'm going to continue to be unhappy with the product and I keep shifting the product. You understand what I'm saying? So you need to find the root cause and then pick up the product accordingly. Yeah. So There are expert products which can remove the grease from the scalp without stripping off the nourishment from your hair and scalp. There are products which are specifically designed for dandruff, shampoos and tonics. There are products which are specifically designed for sensitive scalp, which is shampoo and the tonic. And there are products which are specifically designed to take care of the hair loss. So in Schwarzkopf, we have a beautiful range which is called Scalp Genesis. Now, Scalp Genesis is purely designed for a scalp related issues. So if I have a scalp issue, I would pick up a product from a uh, scalp genesis range, and I can also pick up a product from a Bonacure range to take care of my hair requirement. So I can actually mix and match to ensure that both my requirement, which is my hair, and a scalp requirement are taken care. Yeah. So that's pretty much what I have for hair and for scalp. Now, if we deep dive and try and understand a hair care regime, now that you know what is your hair and what is your scalp type and things like that. So now let's understand what is the right way of shampooing the hair. There are a lot of stories. Even if you Google it out, there are a lot of descriptions that you get. See, it's important. Your hair needs to be tangle free before you put water onto it. So make sure you use a wide tooth comb and start combing from the bottom, like towards the tip of your hair to the root. Make sure your hair is tangle free. Then you go wet your hair, apply the shampoo onto the root or onto the scalp, starting from the hairline, going all the way to the crown. So you apply the shampoo onto the hairline area and massage in a circular motion. Now, when you're massaging, it's very important that your fingertips can tend to break the hair. So be as gentle as possible. Avoid the hair getting tangled, and always use a circular motion. Yeah, circular motion. You don't have to rub too harsh. Massage gently. Leave the lather for a couple of minutes. Yes, the shampoo lather can be left for a couple of minutes onto the hair. So that ensures all the dirt and impurities being cleansed from your root. And when you let the shampoo lather run through your shaft, you don't have to actually bring it down. Let the lather run through it. So what happens is, with that movement, all the dirt from your hair gets cleansed. Yes, in case if you think it's not clean properly, you can always add a small amount of shampoo to the midlands. Once your shampoo is completely done, you remove excess moisture. If possibly, just blow dry it. Blow dry it is when you take a towel and soak the excess moisture. And then you're going to apply your conditioner. Now, conditioner is not required for the scalp. The conditioner is something which is required for midlands and ends, because that's one area which is unprotected. Unprotected from your heat, excessive heat, sunlight, pollution, and everything. So you need to provide an extra care to that. So you apply that to the midlands and leave it for a couple of minutes. When you say couple of minutes, please make sure that those 2 minutes are very, very important. So you apply, wait for a minute, and you rinse it off. You're not actually sealing your cuticles. You're just adding a bit of moisture into it. Wait for 2 minutes, rinse the whole thing off, and then you can towel dry it. Towel dry it, or you can even use a comb after that. Yes. I personally prefer a curly hair to be combed on a wet hair, and a straight hair you can comb it, or you can just brush dry, or you can air dry the hair. I think there's one more question. We'll just quickly have a look at that. Okay. What to do if the scalp is oily and the hair is frizzy? It's a brilliant question. Now, in case if your scalp is extremely oily and your hair is extremely frizzy, you can use a clarifying shampoo, which is a purifying shampoo from Scalp Genesis for your scalp. And you can use an anti-frizz conditioner or a mask, which is your Smooth Perfect anti-frizz conditioner. You can actually use it on a midlands and ends, and that will help you to counter your greasy scalp and your frizzy. My hair fall has stopped, but now I'm having much thin hair and the scalp is visible. Okay, so here the problem is, though your hair fall is stopped, but the new growth that has happened is not as thicker or fuller as it is supposed to be, which means you can start using. I'm not just switching from product to product, because now we need to actually understand the concern here is because your vitality is not as good as what it was before. So with Scalp Genesis, the main key ingredient that we have is called stem core complex. Now, what it does, it strengthens the root and improves the hair quality. So it also helps in the hair growth. So what you have is the new growth coming in, and it will also have the same vitality what it had before. So I would recommend you to use the Scalp Genesis root activating weight. That's just perfect for you. And pick any conditioner. If your hair is a bit fine, I would recommend you to use a spray conditioner. Spray conditioners are generally the leave-in conditioner, which you can just spray it onto your midlands and ends and leave it. don't have to wash. Reason why I'm not recommending a cream conditioner is because, as you mentioned, your hair is a bit thin and finer. It might weigh down, and you might feel the scalp is a bit flat, or the root is a bit flatter. A spray conditioner is gently a bit lighter in texture, so it's perfectly all right. So you can use a root activating shampoo, root activating serum for your scalp, and for mid-length ends, you can just spray a spray conditioner. So there are spray conditioners available for dry hair or a normal hair. There are spray conditioners available for color treated hair. There are spray conditioners available for matured hair, and there are spray conditioners available for damaged hair as well. So there are 4 types of spray conditioners. So you can pick the conditioner because you've not mentioned what your hair type is. So I'm not getting into it, but you have 4 options to pick from there. So the next question is, my hair is not chemically treated, but it's still frizzy. I can change. I change a lot of product, but of no use. Okay. So I understand that your hair is not chemically treated, but it's frizzy. So uh, you need excess moisture to ensure that the hair is manageable. Smooth Perfect is an ideal option. A shampoo and a conditioner. Sometimes a shampoo and conditioner is not enough. Post your shampoo and a conditioner, you can always top it up with an antifrizz. There are 2 ways you can use a serum. You can use a serum on a wet hair. So when you apply it on a wet hair, the hair tends to absorb it properly and let it air dry it. Post the hair is dry completely. Take the smallest quantity possible. Yeah. So if you have taken a drop, like a peanut size, next time when you're applying it on the dry hair, take half of it. Spread it well, rub it against your palm, apply on a mid-length and especially if your hairline area is a bit too frizzy, let the product run through on the mid-length sentence, and then whatever is left, you can apply onto the hairline. Don't start with your hairline. You might see that area looking very greasy and sticky. Can you suggest something that hair volume is maintained? So I understand you've got thin hair. Step one, keep your length a bit shorter because the longer the hair, the flatter it looks. You want to maintain the length, you can actually cut your hair in layers. You don't prefer that, you can actually keep the layers a bit longer. Remember, shorter the hair, the voluminous it looks. Longer the hair, the flatter it looks. Yeah, that's my first suggestion. Second, you can always use a volume boost shampoo, which actually ensures that there is a root lift and you see a bit of fullness that comes into your hair. That's the second thing. Third thing, when you dry your hair, you can actually hair dry your hair. You can bend your head forward, use a hair dryer as against the natural growth, and when you flip it back, you see the volume that you're actually looking for. And yeah, top it up with a spray conditioner. Don't use a cream conditioner if you're very particular about the excess volume that you're looking for. A remedy for dandruff. Yes, dandruff is a seasonal challenge. Sometimes when you have a problem with your diet, sometimes you have a problem with the wrong shampoo, or if there is a climatic change or something, you keep seeing the dandruff coming back. So it's always good to invest in a good dandruff shampoo and use it for a specific time period. I would say about 10 to 15 washes. Then put your product back. So don't keep using the dandruff shampoo till the time the bottle is over. You should not be thinking about that, okay, I've invested in the shampoo, so let me just use the whole product. Each product has a good shelf life. So there is a manufacturing date and there is an expiry date. Yes, we understand that once a product has been used, it doesn't last that long. But again, you still have good 6 to 8 months to a year to consume that product. And most of the products that we have are unisex. So not just you, anybody in your family can actually use that. So I would recommend you to use a dandruff control shampoo on a regular basis. So use it on a regular basis as a dandruff control serum. So when you use only a shampoo, what is happening is you're cleaning it from the surface. But actually, the dandruff is a fungal infection which is beneath your skin. So every time you cleanse it from the surface, the infection is not cured. It keeps coming back. That's why you see it takes forever or even longer for you to actually get rid out of the dandruff. So it's important that you use a dandruff control shampoo to clean it and use a tonic on the scalp. So there are leave-in tonics which are available. You can just put few drops, just spread it well. Make sure that the product is spread evenly. If you have a doubt, then make sure you go ahead and just use your fingers in a circular motion. The product is evenly distributed across. Leave it to dry naturally. You don't have to use anything. All these products are pretty much on a gel base, and it doesn't leave your scalp greasy or sticky. So it's perfectly all right. Use that on a regular basis. I would recommend this to be done for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Use a tonic on a regular basis. Once you see the dandruff is completely cured, put the product back and switch back to your normal shampoo that you've been using it before. But again, be very specific. The shampoo has to complement your hair and scalp. You should not be using a shampoo which is clarifying and then you go back to the same routine again. Yeah, so it's key. Let's see the next question. Okay. Best oil or shampoo for hair fall and gray hair? That's another very important question that you have. Best oil for me, a basic coconut oil is something which is as good as possible. You can use olive oil, you can use almond oil. See, olive oil and almond oil is slightly difficult to remove. If you're at home, yeah, I understand you're all at home, but it might require more than a couple of washes to actually get rid of that greasiness from your scalp. Where compared to that, a coconut oil is much easier to cleanse it. So I would personally suggest you can use a coconut oil, massage your hair and scalp for about 10 minutes, leave it for 10 minutes, and then remove it. You don't have to leave that for more than 20 to 30 minutes on the scalp. That's all about. I would go ahead and always recommend you to use a normal basic coconut oil for your head massage. You can actually cleanse that off, and that's about it. That's for your scalp. Now, if you're looking at an oil for your hair, now in Schwarzkopf, we have a complete oil base products, which is called Oil Ultime. So you have four different oils. You have argan oil. You got, I'm sure that you're familiar with argan oil, but marula oil. Yeah. There's Barbary fig and there is rose oil. Your argan oil we normally recommend for hair which is very thick and unmanageable because the oil is a bit heavier. Your marula oil is normally recommend for a hair which is on the normal side. Barbary fig is something that we normally recommend for hair which is a bit weaker, fragile, or chemically treated. Yeah. And rose oil is something that we always recommend for hair which is very thin and limp. Yes, rose oil can also be used for a head massage in case if you're looking for it. Yeah. So that's the oil category that we have. Let me just quickly see if there are any more questions. Okay. So in case if you have to do a deep conditioning at home, because that's something we all want to understand that how can I do a deep conditioning that I can, like I used to go to a salon and get it done. See, let's understand the fact when you go to a salon, the experience is different. The feel factor is different. So I'm not saying that you will get a similar effect, but result wise, you can at least get a decent amount of result by doing that at home. All you have to do is use a shampoo, as we discussed before. Leave it for about 2 minutes on your hair. Rinse the shampoo lather. Towel dry it. Blow dry it. You don't have to rub it. When you towel dry it, don't rub it. Squeeze it. Yeah. Or wrap it and leave it so that the towel soaks excess moisture. But in case of deep conditioning, you actually have to blow dry it nicely. Blow dry it. Remove all excess moisture. Then take the mask. Apply the mask to mid-length and make sure you emulsify it well. The better you emulsify, it spreads well and it seals the surface. Leave that for about 10 to 15 minutes. You don't have to put that on your scalp, majorly for your hair shaft. Apply it, leave it for good 10 15 minutes. You can actually use a hot towel, which is easily available. You can ensure that there is a hot towel available at home. Wrap it onto your hair, let it cool down. Continue this process for about 2 to 3 times. In that 15 minutes, you're at least using hot towel for about 2 to 3 times. This hot and cold therapy really helps in terms of melting the product and infusing that into your hair shaft. After that, let the hair cool down for a couple of minutes. Rinse it, rinse the hair completely. Make sure that there is no product left on your hair. Your hair should not feel slippery or slimy. That's the key. It should be clean. The surface should be clean. Once it is clean, you can always top it up with a serum or a leave-in conditioner. So this is something which you can actually do it at home. You don't need to take an extra effort. It's I mean, I'm sure that most of you are using a professional product at home, so you all have a decent shampoo, got a beautiful conditioner available. You can, in fact, if you don't have a mask, you can actually do it with a conditioner, but make sure that you don't leave the conditioner for about 15-20 minutes. A good 5-10 minutes is more than enough because the consistency of conditioner, the oil content is a bit more than your mask. So I would recommend that to be left for about 5 to 10 minutes. So that's something which we all can do it at home. And if you have any questions, please feel free to shoot. Okay, so how to do a hair spa at home? I just explain you how to do a hair spa at home. So it's as simple as it is. You can apply a mask. You can actually apply a mask from closer to the root. I won't put a lot of mask on the scalp. You can apply the mask closer to the root. You can actually do a circular motion massage. You can massage your own scalp so that you know the pressure point. You can feel how it is. Massage for good about 5 to 10. Wrap it up with a hot towel. Leave that, continue the process for about 2 to 3 times. Rinse the whole thing. Let the hair breathe. And one personal suggestion is as the time you all are sitting at home, please make sure that you cleanse your hair and scalp once in 10 days thoroughly. Yeah. Using a clarifying shampoo, it's really, really, really important. Even though when you're at home, you're still working, you're busy in your schedule. The work style is slightly changed, but you're still busy. So it's equally important that you need to ensure that your hair and scalp is clean and it's healthy. Yeah. So that's all I have it from my side. And if you have any questions, you can leave your questions in the comment. Thank you so much for staying with me, and I looking forward to see you also. Thank you so much. Stay safe, stay at home. Thank you.